You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
I'm here. I'm
Howdy.
here. I may be black. I may be poor, but I's here.
You is here.
I can't remember that line. I used to know all those lines from Color Purple. You're red.
Red.
Yeah, a little flush. You're a little
Oh,
flush.
yeah. Wonder why.
Might need to powder your nose.
It's weird. I got no freaking filters on.
No, it was
I'm
I may
orange.
be black, I may be something, and I may be ugly, but I'm here.
My new computer still hasn't been fixed, so it doesn't have any form of email, which means it has no context, which means it has no calendar, because all of those are integrated into the OS. So
What do you
until
mean
they
your
fix
computer hasn't been fixed yet?
it has a when I migrated everything from my old computer to my new computer because they were so drastically different in ages, like my old one was like from 15, I think. For some reason, there was a glitch with the Mail app that they're trying to research and fix and see. And probably what's going to happen is next week, I'm going to have, when I have a chance, I'm going to go to the Apple Store and just wipe it and reinstall it.
Why?
Um,
Okay. Well, first of all, when I did a new computer, I think I put everything on a flash drive and just transferred it. As far as email and contacts, all that's in the cloud. You shouldn't have to. I mean, that's what Google does.
Right, but there was an integration problem. Like when I try to start my mail on my new computer, it comes up and it says accessing data or blah blah blah. Then it comes up and says there was a conflict because I have 8 email addresses. So I have lots of content in my mail and I
Oh, I
also
do
have
too.
lots of
I have like six
um,
or eight for sure.
yeah, and I have lots of email addresses and I have lots of yada yada. Anyway, the one of them didn't integrate well with the migration. So it won't even activate at all. So, and that was just from the initial migration.
I would think that you could just use their new version of email and import your contacts.
Mail, the Mail app on Mac is integrated into the OS. That's their mail system. I could probably do it if I wanted to manually input every email into Outlook, but I freaking hate Outlook.
I don't
Every
use
time I
Outlook
use
at
it,
all. I use Gmail. And I use
yeah.
Gmail for my non-Gmail addresses too.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, but
I mean, I have timothywarren.net and I use that as a Gmail in my Gmail as well. And
right,
all of that is off, I guess, not even on my computer.
right.
My contacts especially, so that it's same with phone. I mean, it just makes it so much easier to migrate. But that's okay. You keep your Apple.
Well, I love everything else about it. And the integration was great. The migration was great, except for that frickin' email.
Hmm.
And again,
Um,
talking with them online, they're trying to fix it, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, basically, I should go ahead and just wipe and reinstall, but I haven't because I have stuff on here that I need to transfer over, mainly all of our podcast stuff.
I'm telling you, I buy on Amazon about every other month. Not really. About every maybe two a year. A flash drive for like $12 and it holds so much that I have like 2 seasons worth of video on it. And even all the raw video that I don't use. So I have like everything. Now, what I think I will do is when I start filling up these last 2 flash drives, I'll start deleting stuff I know I don't need, like the dual audio or the close up video that's not side by side, that kind of shit. But I keep all
Mhm.
of it. I've got it all. That's why you always can. pretty much ask me, and I probably will have it unless it's something you didn't send me, like an X Files.
Yeah, those.
And are y'all
I
doing
know.
that Nosferatu play again? I saw that on
Yeah,
Facebook.
we're
Are
doing. We're
you
gonna have
directing it?
auditions. Yeah, I'll direct that
Oh,
one in October.
cool.
Yeah, hopefully it'll end up being good if I can cast it and get the rewrites where I want the rewrites to be. Then we'll be good. And then I told you that the Greenville Theater Guild is doing Night of the Living Dead here at the Capitol. They're
Yeah,
doing
I've
it.
never known that as a play, but I would think it would work pretty well.
Oh, the play's good. It's a good adaptation. The only thing they do different is they set up like a little side stage. The script calls for a side stage, and that's where the secondary action takes place. So like the sheriff and his men, or the interviews, the newscasts, they take place off to the side. And then the main set is, of course, the cabin.
The
Just the,
house. Yeah.
just the, I've seen two different versions online of set design, and one of them is just the main room with like a staircase that goes up. And then the other one is like bisected. So you got the main room, the staircase, the door to the kitchen, and you can see through to the back door. So you get that whole walk in from the back door thing. And then the front windows. And then over here is just like the corner of the basement with the clothesline and everything else. So you can do the whole trawl murder.
Wow. So do you have to pay rights for that?
Yeah, it's a play. It's a licensed
I know,
play
but I
that I'm
mean,
sure Rubenstein probably owned.
well, no, because I mean they lost copyright. So I don't understand how you could copyright a play of it.
Well, because you would then copyright your play, which is a version of it. And then whoever wrote that or publishes that would get royalties for it.
It seems theoretically that you could do that, but I would think anybody could write their own and do it and not have to worry about it.
Oh, I'm sure they could. Yeah,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any problem with that. But if you wanted to do
Because
this
I mean it's just
adaptation,
right,
then it
right.
would be royalties. Um,
Richard Rubenstein doesn't own that. That would have been before him.
Dramatic Publishing owns the rights, and it is written by Laurie Allen Ohm, based on George Romero and John Russo's original film.
Yeah, it would have been Russo, who I don't even know if he's still alive. But
It says
Rubenstein
12 men, 5 women, plus 15 to 20 zombies.
Rubenstein didn't come along until Tales of the Dark Side, I think.
Who produced it originally? Not Russo. Somebody else produced it.
The original Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the company he had at the time was Latent Image, and they did commercials. I don't know who produced it. I would say George did. George and Ron probably produced it because they did everything. Are you pulling up IMDb?
Yeah. Because it just seems like I remember that was part of the issue, was they split after it, and George could still use
No,
parts of the
the issue with copyright was they kept changing the title, and they didn't copyright it under the title because it was a bunch of different things, including Night of the Flesh Eaters. And I think
Right.
then they went, well, let's go with Night of the Living Dead, and no one changed the copyright.
It was produced by Russell Striner and Carl
Right.
Hardman.
Well, that is Harry Cooper and Johnny.
Yep.
So it was produced by the cast. My speed
I don't know
looks
why I was
okay.
remembering Rubenstein, I guess, from Tales from the Dark Side or whatever, when they worked together.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Open the
I
door.
remember those.
That really bad video graphic of opening the door.
It was very bad. Yes.
Yeah.
I had to I went to give blood yesterday. I did
Mhm.
platelets. It takes like 2 hours. And they basically hook both my arms up and I can't move for 2 hours. So they make
Oh,
me
you
watch
get
a
a
movie.
crucifixion thing happening? That's cool.
Kinda, yeah. And I watched a movie on Netflix that's in the top 10. And I Googled best horror on Netflix, and it's not really a horror movie, but it is really good. It's called Rust Creek. Have you seen that?
Rust Creek. No.
Yeah, it's about a girl that's She ditches her parents and her friends for Thanksgiving break and decides to go to an interview in Washington, D.C. over Thanksgiving weekend.
Uh-huh.
So no one knows where she's at. And she's driving through rural Kentucky and gets lost and is harassed by these guys that are obviously going to rape her or something. And so she ends up leaving her car and her phone and running out into the Kentucky wilderness.
Okay.
Yeah. And you think it's going to be like The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, where she's just going to die out there alone. But it turns into like hillbillies making meth and corrupt cops and shit. I mean, it was good. As a matter of fact, they finished draining my blood 10 minutes before the movie was over. And I was like, I got to finish this. Rust Creek.
Rust Creek. Okay.
The girl in it's really good. She gets stabbed in the leg. She's a runner, and she gets stabbed in the leg by one of the guys before she escapes. So she's wounded too.
Does he chase her and then they have like a little cliff fight or something? Or she climbs something?
There is a little like cliff in a couple of places overlooking a river. One's overlooking a river, and one's overlooking like a gully. Yeah.
I think I've seen that clip where she is first attacked at cars, right? There are two cars, and that's when she gets stabbed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I've
her
seen
car
that clip.
she's looking at a map on the hood, and they pull up in a
Right.
truck in front of her. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that clip of just her initial assault and running and hiding from them initially.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would put it in our oeuvre, even though it's a thriller, because it really is more of a, I don't know, like a crime kind of thing in places because of the drug manufacturing and the corrupt police and stuff like that.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
whole thing, it revolves around this girl is missing, and if she turns up, everyone's going to know what's going on. So they don't want her to turn up. It's not only
course not.
the fact that they're not finding her, it's the fact that they want to find her and kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to find her first.
Right.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
So, but it was pretty good. I mean, I would watch it I don't think I would cover it on the podcast. I wouldn't even use it as a genre week. That's why I was talking about it now, because it'll end up in a bonus thing or something. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It sounds like but is it like Revenge or one of those others, oh, now I'm going to survive and come back and get you films? Is that the gist?
No.
Or is it just, I just have to survive long enough to be rescued?
It's I have to survive.
Okay.
And that's how it ends. It ends with
Okay.
her walking away, and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I'd like it more if it was a spit on your grave revenge thing.
Well, pretty much everyone involved does die.
Okay, then I like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no one to go back and get revenge on.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a good guy in it that you don't expect to be a good guy, and he's one of the
Oh.
meth makers. Yeah.
Meth maker number one. That's my credit for the
it's
day.
really funny. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but the whole time I was watching it, all I could think of was Winter's Bone, that movie with Jennifer Lawrence.
I've never seen that movie.
That movie is great, but I don't remember it. I just remember it dealt with backwoods hillbillies making meth. So when I saw this, I was like, same thing, pretty much.
3, 2,
One
other thing.
Have you been watching the Billy Joel concert on Paramount?
No, was I supposed to?
Yeah, it's his 100th sellout performance at Madison Square Garden in 10 consecutive years, 10
Okay.
months a year, I think, or maybe
Okay.
12.
Yeah.
He had all kinds of guests like Sting and other people come out and sing with him.
Well, good.
But I mean, it's amazing that he can sell out Madison Square Garden once a month for 10 years. No one's done that.
Once a month?
Yes. He has been playing what would you call that? What do you call it? A residency, I guess, once a month at Madison Square Garden for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. He says
That
that
is
they're
pretty impressive.
Madison Square Garden's house band. And honestly,
That's good.
I mean, he brought in brass for this performance because they do Big Man on Mulberry Street, which he doesn't normally do, and Sting sings it. And the whole time I
Ooh.
was watching it, I was like, this looks like it could be in a club. It really does. I mean, the place is massive and everyone has these lights on their wristbands. So the whole place
Yeah.
is lit up. And I was like, it feels as intimate as a club. It was wild. I mean, I was blown away. I've only seen like the first third of it so far,
That's
but
pretty impressive, though. It's pretty good.
yeah, it aired on CBS, and then CBS interrupted like the last song, Piano Man. Did you hear about
That
this?
was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and like everybody raised hell, and they had to rebroadcast the entire thing.
Yeah, last Sunday they rebroadcast the whole thing because
Right, and now it's
as an
on Paramount.
apology.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
I've been watching it on Paramount. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Don't you dare interrupt Piano Man.
Especially
Freebird.
because it was only like the last 3 minutes of the concert, too.
Yeah, it was like the encore or something. And you're going to do the intro. And Barbara's going to barge in and say, fuck Tim and that goddamn podcast.
I certainly hope not, but you never know. Or the dogs who are lying here will do something.
I don't care about the dogs. The dogs ain't going to bother me. I will show you something.
I don't care about the dog.
Can you read this?
That's great. I love that. That is really good.
Yeah, Dennis gave me that. He's like, oh, that's you. Fuck people. It's that I always think about that play I did with Joe, True West. People.
Yep.
Fuck people.
Fuck people.
People. Every time I hear that, that's what I mean. Every time I think about other people, that's what comes to my head.
Okay. 3, 2,
1. My sister was here. I showed her X and Pearl, so I saw those again.
Yeah.
Love those movies. The more I watch them, the more I like them. I mean, I didn't think that he tried to make Pearl look like a 19 whatever movie, but it's basically because movies then were silent because it's set during World War II, like 1918.
Yeah.
So he does do it like a 40s movie as far as the font on the credits and as far as the music, but it's in lavish color.
This is the third one.
No, this is Pearl.
The second one.
Yes, the second
I
one.
haven't watched it yet.
It's set in 1918.
Yeah.
Howard is in World War One, and she is on the farm alone with her mother and father. And
that can't be good.
Theta, the alligator.
Theta. Okay, great.
It's great. I love it because it is how X tries to be like a cross between, like, I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. Well, Pearl is much more like Psycho because you're more getting into her head, like Norman Bates kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I would definitely
form,
cover it.
I saw the new long trailer for MaXXXine.
Yeah.
And it looks interesting too. That Hollywood setting and her saying, I'm going to be a star and all that. So,
well, and there are connections after watching both these movies twice. The very first line I think MaXXXine has is her looking in the mirror saying, you're going to be a star or whatever, like you said, like you're the greatest. And Pearl does that shit too. So there's like some weird connection. That's why they're played by the same actress. And I think he's feeding into that. I mean, I think MaXXXine may be a killer in the next movie.
I'm sure she is. I guarantee she is.
I mean, she did back over that woman's head.
But she's not related to Pearl. She is the preacher's daughter.
She is. She is the preacher's daughter.
Right. Okay.
No, Pearl's mother is a strict German woman, and her dad is wheelchair bound. Right.
And Pearl becomes the nymphomaniac serial killer.
Well, she's X. Already a nymphomaniac, but yeah.
In X. And so then MaXXXine is whatever MaXXXine is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did her encounter with Pearl and backing that truck up over her head at the end turn her into a killer? Is what I'm
Oh yeah,
wondering.
I guarantee it did. I don't. I think if anything, there will be like she's in Hollywood wanting to be a star, probably tempted to do porno or having to do porno or whatever, and there is a serial killer or whatever, and that triggers her. She's like, I'm better than he is. That's what I think is going to be
I
MaXXXine.
think she's going to probably fall along the same route as Pearl, whereas Pearl ends up killing people that get in her way and try to fuck with her business. As far as I'm going to
Yeah,
be a star, I'm not going to let anyone get in my way. So
you mean MaXXXine?
yeah, I'm saying, is MaXXXine going to do the same thing?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. I think
I
if
see.
another
I figured
girl,
it was going to be. I thought she was going to be a porno actress because it's got the triple X in it.
right, and if another girl gets a part she wants, I think that girl's doomed, sort of thing.
And it's going to be set, hopefully, like a bright early '80s film,
Right,
slasher wise or whatever.
right. So that's what we think of MaXXXine. That's our projections.
Exactly, exactly. And then I showed her. We
We should do
watched.
we should do that as a series of shorts too. What we think's going to happen. Like Fallout 2 is coming out next year. This is what I think is going to happen.
Well, the problem is that half the time you think something's coming out, it doesn't come out. Like that thing I sent out on Facebook about Friday the 13th, the series. Obviously, Fox or whoever owns it clashed with what Bryan Fuller was trying to do. And all of a sudden, Bryan Fuller's not on that project anymore. And
Well,
I
that's what
guarantee
happened.
you his would have been better.
Well, but he seems to that seems to be his deal. That's what happened with Discovery. That's what happened with what was it? There was the third one. I can't remember right now, but he started, did all the pre-production, did the design work, talked to the people, blah blah blah. Ended up studio started getting involved. And he said, "Screw you! I don't want to do with it. You're not letting me do what I want to do. So see ya."
Right. And I mean, look
So
what he did with Hannibal. I mean,
yeah,
he made that show great and interesting, and he went into the nuances. It's really funny because I just watched the very first episode of Interview with the Vampire season 2. Same thing. They're letting those creators go deeper into the story, and it may not be the same exact story, but it's got the elements and the nuances that those books have, and it's great. It ended with them killing Lestat. And now they're in Europe looking for vampires, just like they do in the book. But
hmm
before they get to Paris, they went to Greece and Eastern Europe, looking over in Romania and places for like where vampires are supposed to be. And they come across what they would call feral vampires, those that really do live out in the wild and are crazy because they've let themselves go crazy. And Anne Rice just glosses over that in the book. It's like a transitional thing before they get to Paris. In
hmm
this, the very first episode is a whole story set in Romania during World War II. And I was like, wow, this is killer. And they're out. It's the end of World War II, but Russia's still killing people. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
just, I mean, it's very interesting. I'm like, as long as it has that Anne Rice flavor, I don't care. They can keep doing this. It's like watching Hannibal.
Well, Joe really liked it. He watched the first, he said 3 episodes, I think,
Of
um, of Interview,
the first
and real,
season.
yeah,
Yeah.
and really liked it. He said it's not the books, but it's what they're doing. I really like. And I was going, okay.
Honestly, it is the book, though. It really is. It's just a little different. You find out at the end of the season that the man that's always been coming into the room is Armand. And I suspected that all along, but he doesn't talk much in the first season. And now
Right.
in this second season, it's more like an interview with Louis and Armand, which I'm okay with. It doesn't bother me at all because they were together for quite some time, like over a century, I think, or close to it. In this, it might be shorter. But
Brian,
what did surprise me, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what did surprise me is they recast Claudia.
for the second season.
Yeah, it says right before anything starts, it says the part of Claudia will now be played by, and it's got a new name. And she looks very similar. But what I did some research, and it turns out the girl that played Claudia was big in the Avatar movies. And now that Cameron's making them, she's unavailable because her contract with him supersedes AMC.
Makes sense.
So they had to recast it.
Wow.
Yeah. But I don't care because the girl they got, I mean, she was predominantly in this episode I watched just a little while ago, and she was great. And she reminded me of the first girl. So I'm not really that worried about it.
So Bryan Fuller was a huge, huge story editor for Voyager, Star Trek Voyager.
Okay.
Then he went on to do Dead Like Me, the series, Wonder Falls, Pushing Daisies, Heroes.
Mhm.
I didn't know he did Heroes,
Yeah.
but that makes sense. Hannibal. Did a couple of short takes. American Gods, which stopped in 21. That was that.
Yeah.
Started out with Discovery. And now I think he's back for Discovery for this last season because I
Really?
saw his name in the credits. But
They're
he's
probably
also got
using pieces of stuff he wrote.
says the upcoming project. He's executive producer of 4 episodes of Queer for Fear, the history of queer horror.
I've already watched that. That's old.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it says 22.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on Shudder. It's one of those documentary series.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is good. As a matter of fact, it ends kind of abruptly. I wish they would do another season of it.
They might.
But they talk about a lot of gay
So
subtext in movies, past and present.
there you go. That's
Yeah, it is good. But I'm telling you, whoever is over at Peacock doing this, or it may be Fox,
Yeah, right.
whatever, who owns Peacock?
NBC
I know, but there's some movie studio also.
that owns Peacock.
Well, maybe they don't own it, but whoever owns Friday the 13th, that's one of the reasons they haven't made a Friday the 13th in a long time is because no one could figure out who owns what. But I want to say it's Fox.
NBC Universal, a subsidiary of Comcast.
Well, it may be Universal, but I think it's Fox. I think it's Fox and Fuller that didn't agree. And all of a sudden,
Fox for Friday the 13th.
for Friday the 13th, but the show is being made for Peacock. It's a series. And I've been looking, I swear I've been digging every other month to find out what's going on, when this is coming, blah, blah, blah. And because the original girl is involved in it as well. Bryan Fuller was the showrunner. And I'm like, this is going to be great. And then I find out that, well, at first they said it looked abandoned, like it was not going to happen at all. But now it looks like whoever the other partner is going forward without Bryan Fuller. So it's like, I think they're going to turn it into just what you would expect. And I think Bryan Fuller would have done something we don't expect.
Oh, yeah.
That's my take. But I guess we'll never know. And I'm not going to know because I'm not going to get Peacock anytime soon. So
I think I have Peacock. I thought Peacock was free. I was pretty sure
no,
it was a free.
it is, but most of the stuff on there you have to subscribe. They'll give you the first episode, then you have to subscribe. But if you do have it, you should watch the first 2 seasons of Mr. Mercedes because it is good. I've never watched the third one though.
Yeah, I got a lot on the list.
Oh my God, you've got so much, and wait till I've watched so much here recently that I already have been thinking about season 8. Like this should go there. We could do this.
Good.
Because I think we should probably do Pearl very similarly to the way we're doing Lord of the Rings. And then I watched a movie, and I'm going to do it as a genre topic in the future, but it's been on my list for a while, and it is called Bone Tomahawk.
Oh,
Terrible title. Have you seen it?
I've not, but I've seen the big scene they keep showing from it, which is evidently the Kurt Russell fight back scene in the weird cave prison thing. I've seen it on 5 times.
Okay, I didn't know that they'd been showing that. Yeah, it's a Western, but it's got enough horror to it that we could do it.
Yeah, supposedly it's what they're calling that hybrid genre because it starts out as a Western. You really think it's a Western until like 30, 35 minutes into it, and then suddenly, bam, you're
Yeah.
deep in a horror movie.
Well, I'm obsessed with the guy that directed it because he was a film student that started publishing Western novels. And like Kurt Russell was reading him before he made the movie. And the movie he ended up making because he couldn't, I don't think he had enough budget to do his first novel or something. I can't remember. Anyway, Bone Tomahawk was original. I don't think it was one of his novels. But I've already bought one of his novels because I want to read one because Kurt
Well, he
Russell
should
says he writes the most realistic Westerns you'll ever read.
he should adapt some Joe Lansdale then. That's
Well,
all
and it's
Western
well,
horror
Joe
shit.
Lansdale is one of the people out there singing his praises too.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah. And I was like, this is some good shit. And the cast, man, it is like Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins. I mean, a lot of good people.
You
I
heard
was
about
gonna
Roger Corman, right?
Hmm?
Heard about Roger Corman, right?
What about him?
He died. Day
I
before
thought
yesterday.
I thought he was already dead.
Oh no. It was a big deal. It was all over Twitter and everybody making Nicholson was coming out and singing his praises, Ron Howard, all these people saying, I would not have a job without this man and what he did
A
to
lot of
cinema.
people think that.
Yeah. James Cameron, all of them were coming out just saying so sad that he's gone. But he was like 96 or something.
Yeah, he was 98
98. Yeah.
because he died. He was born in April of 26 and died in May of 24. So, okay. I had no idea. I could have sworn that he had already died.
Yeah. Yep. So it was a big deal. And now they're talking about how do you modify the Oscars next year to have a tribute to him since he never won.
Well, I mean, you would have to just show scenes from movies people know.
Oh yeah, but
I mean,
no,
'cause he's got
they're
so
talking
many.
about what could be the tribute to him, which would be great, of course. And then there was another one. As one guy said, Roger Corman's great when you make him the head of the FBI in Silence of the fucking Lambs.
Right. But I mean, I looked him up the other day to find something that he had done recently because I was editing our best of or whatever, our bonus episodes. And his list of movies is enormous.
It's insane.
It's like it just goes on and on because it's not just the stuff he's directed, it's the stuff he's produced, the stuff he wrote. I mean, it's just huge,
Oh, yeah.
huge.
It's incredible.
And
It's
most of it you
incredible.
haven't heard of.
Nope.
I mean, it
Well,
took me forever to find Galaxy of Terror. I was like, what Roger Corman movies have we done? And I knew we had done The Raven, and I couldn't remember what the other one was, and it was Galaxy of Terror.
Yep.
So those are two
the other
really
one-
obscure ones for us to have done for Roger Corman.
When I was looking through stuff, 3 different best of lists listed crap. I can't remember the name of it. It was something like The Intruder or The Tenant or something like that, but it starred William Shatner, and it was a movie that he wrote and directed. It's supposed to be really, really great, and it's this huge racist screed on this, like, Shatner plays this young, he's obviously very young in it, but plays this young activist who goes to fight for human rights during the 60s and incites this huge, race war in this town. And it's supposed to be really, really good. And I said, I've never even heard of this movie.
Mm-mm.
But it was
No.
supposedly Roger Corman's best movie ever. So
But he might not have directed it, did he?
I think he directed and wrote it. That was the thing about that one. It was like his
Interesting.
baby. But yeah. But yeah, I didn't know if you'd heard about that, so that was on my list. But other than that, no, I got nothing.
Okay.
3, 2,
1.
You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.